We're going to call the November 16th, 2020 Select Board meeting to order. The time is 6:31. We still are, even though it's Zoom, just as we did in the spring. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you don't have an American flag to stand up to, feel free to sit down and say it.
Or look at the screen.
Yeah. So on Stan's cue, whenever Stan starts.
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Perfect. Okay, so here we are. So we've got warrants to do. Stanley, do you have all of the warrants in front of you?
I have the general warrants and the errors and omissions. So I'll start with the general warrants for 11/16/20, total $72,491.53. There was 95 warrants. And I had a little confusion because we have some of the same funds due this week that we had the last meeting, and that was Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I called down, talked to Jen, and it's because it's been 3 weeks since the previous payment, so they were due. There was one small error that she fixed, and the AmCare, $12,391. Stantec, $10,191. That was in the planning and zoning bucket. It's now like minus $40,000, but we got grants coming in to cover that. The other one for Stantec was $1,317. That was in the town manager's engineering consultant bucket. See, there's $25,000 in there, so this is the first money spent from that bucket. I had some time this weekend, so I looked. I was always curious. There was a total of 95 invoices. 59 of them went to the DPW, but the money volume was quite a bit smaller. He had a negative $30 on one to one at $4,852 for Pike paving. So, and I'm still waiting for the police department budget. The last time they doubled up, so we got to, Carrie will take a look at that and find out why they haven't billed us yet. They should have built by now.
They haven't billed for the services, they billed for the street crimes unit.
They built for the
Yeah.
street crime unit.
They have a new person there, and I know we
Yeah, remember the last time they doubled up and it was a large sum of money.
was.
So that's all the information I have on the general warrants. And I would make a motion that we approve the general warrants at $72,491.53.
Second,
Who was that?
Jonathan.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Wasn't looking.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Perfect. 3-0. So Stanley, we also have payroll for the 13th and the 6th.
I don't have it in front of me, but I have the payroll for 10/26 to 11/1 at $16,104.75. Then the next week was for 11/02 to 11/08 for $17,872.49. That looks like a normal payroll, so I would make a motion that we approve those two payrolls.
I'll second.
Wait, what? Do we have the dates and the numbers again? I just want to match them up to what Anna gave us for
November 13th was $17,872.49, and November 6th was $16,104.75.
Beautiful. Perfect. So we have a motion. Does anyone second yet?
I seconded.
Perfect. Thank you, Aaron. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Team effort. So now we have an infrastructure development account warrant related to the salt shed, and then another one for a legal bill for the town hall relocation project. So the infrastructure development portion of the warrant is $324,637.80. We have a cross consulting invoice for $740. And Ascent Consulting, the project manager, he invoiced us for $3,464. And the lion's share went to the construction of the building with the local company, Connor Contracting. And it's $320,434.68. So that's money that we as a municipality are spending today with a local contractor that's helping to keep the local economy alive. So, we're going to have to preach that point when we talk about why we want to build the town hall, in the tail end of a pandemic. It's because we can do it with money that will not raise property taxes, and it'll provide local companies like we're doing tonight with Connor Contracting, an ability to receive funding from a good source for a good reason, and keep local people working at the same time. So that said, I would like us to entertain a motion to accept the November 16th infrastructure development warrant in the amount of $325,175.30.
Second.
So
I'll
Aaron,
make the motion.
beautiful. And then Jonathan's got the second.
Yep.
All in favor? Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Or not really ask a question, but that $120,000 for capital project reserved for Connor Construction, that's exactly half of the $240,000 that we set aside when we did our planning.
What planning was that? Because I mean,
That was the planning that we done at the museum that night.
yes, that's correct.
So we pulled the 240,000, so now we paid out half of that. And the other one that you talked about, Accent Consulting, $3,464, that's his last payment for this contract that he's currently on. For the salt shed.
Got it.
Yes, that's
And-
correct.
Perfect. Okay, so with that information in mind, we are going to move on to another warrant after we take this vote that Stan alluded to for the capital project for $120,000 to help cover the salt shed. So we've got a motion from Aaron, a second from Jonathan on the infrastructure development warrant. Any more discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. So then we'll get to go right to the capital project reserve warrant. That's for $120,000, and it's all for a Connor Contracting invoice. So entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Yeah, tie goes to the runner, which is Stan in this case. So Stan with the second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Perfect. And then we have the industrial park warrant. It's so nice to see these. It was great for like the first 18 months I was on the select board. This is what we got every 2 weeks. It was the sewage pump, the road lights, the sign lights, around $700 from GMP. And then all of a sudden for like a year, they were like $2,500, $3,200, $2,100. And it was all because we had to keep repairing those pumps. And it kept Alan and other members of our crew out late into the night. And then Alan and Anna got together and worked with the industrial park tenants, and they put in a new pump system, and now we're back to normal. So again, another good reason to recognize Alan and Anna for helping us get there. So the November 16th, 2020 industrial park warrant $730.81. That's all the GMP for electricity for lights in the sewer pump. We entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion. Make that motion.
Perfect. Thank you, Aaron. And a second?
Second.
Jonathan, you win that one. You win this round of who seconds the motion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you. So I think that does it for all of our warrants for this evening. Okay, so let's go back here. Now we have some minutes in front of us to adopt. Does anybody have any corrections? Or would anyone like to make any motions to accept?
Stan does.
I don't have a correction, I just have a question. Carrie, you were gonna follow up with the Nelson property,
Mhm.
and that'll go, we can sign it now, or?
Well, there's nothing to sign, but they got back to me with some information that I forwarded just this afternoon to Brendan. So I think I was going to bring it up at your next meeting so that you'd have
Good.
time to review it.
The
but
time didn't run out then?
no, and the short version was that the towns do have some influence. He didn't give me a short answer to that, but that's my
We'll
grossly
discuss it at the next
yeah
meeting. Thank you.
simplification of it. Yeah.
That's the only question I had on the warrant.
Perfect. Yeah, so Carrie had sent me over some information from the Land Trust program, and it included a map showing areas in town that are already in the Land Trust. And my first glance, I was a little, not startled, but somewhat surprised about with how much of the town's actually already in the program. So next meeting, we'll talk about whether or not it might be worth having the Planning Commission take a look and maybe talk with some folks from the Land Trust program and make sure that the rate that we're seeing residents sell land into the Land Trust we don't think that'll harm us in the future. We just want to have a check to think about it. It just seems like it'd be worthwhile to do it now. And that doesn't mean anything against the Nelson request. I mean, I don't foresee us having any reason to argue against it. That's just that one request in particular. Like, if you notice, we've got a town road that runs to the farm, and now both sides of the road, other than one house, will be conserved permanently. So are there other areas in town where we have invested in taking over roads that, maybe we need to develop some prerequisites? Like, you have to leave enough road frontage for a building lot. To be along the road if it's on a town-owned road. Maybe there's something that we need to, correct if we can find it. So, Stan, I'm glad you brought that up, and we're going to talk about that more our first meeting in December. And I will make sure that you get the information too, the same as Carrie sent me. So, hearing no corrections to the minutes, does anybody want to make a motion to accept the minutes of November 16th, 2020 as presented? Monday, November 2nd, 2020 as presented.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes of Monday, November 2nd as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jen. Great job as always. So now we're on to public comment.
Can I just, as a point of order, because there's only one person here, 2 other select board members are going to need to come in and sign those warrants this week. Who will it be?
Jonathan and I'll run down. Aaron's got too much good work to do at the health department.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So public comment. Would anybody like to make a public comment? Okay. So we're going to move on to agenda item 5, which is errors and omissions with our assessor, Bill Hinman. He provided us with a copy of the E&Os. There are quite a few of them, but they all seem to come out in the wash at the end thanks to a cell tower, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Most of these E&Os are pretty benign. Personal property accounts, correction owners one veteran exemption, and that's the first one you'll see. It's not until you get to the third page where things are a little bit unclear. So the Montang property, Megan and Brian Shankin, this property was sold to them, and the parents kept I think it was a 1 acre lot with a house. When I went to reevaluate the property, unfortunately our Microsoft system, I don't know how to explain it, but I had to call for help at NIMRIC and have them redo the numbers to correct for this property. It is now you mentioned a conserved property, so some of the vacant land is a little bit less valuable than it would be otherwise, but it does include a building lot, which is part of that land trust agreement. The big one is the last one on the list. I got a call from Sharon Tucker with Vermont Transco, and she's the one that does the inventories each year for Vermont Transco for all the towns in the state of Vermont. She asked me about an account, personal property account, and it indicated Bellevue Carriage Road. And she said, we don't own anything on Bellevue Carriage Road. So that started the process of the investigation. I found out through going into websites of state communication towers that VTEL was the actual owner of that tower. So it appears that for the last, as far back as I can get, which was 2000, when they started assessing was 2011, that they were assessing this to Transco rather than VTEL. I also saw that Vermont Transco, as well as AT&T Mobility, have two towers on the other side of the road, and noticed that while Transco was identifying their inventory on that hill, we had nothing listed for AT&T Mobility. So what I would like to do in this area of mission is correct the ownership from Vermont Transco to VTEL, and then add in AT&T Mobility LLC for the other tower up on the hill on French Hill. I think that this is necessary because we need to recognize the value of these cell towers, and it would actually help us as far as any losses in the grand list and liability to the municipal taxes. So I would entertain any questions.
Huh.
Not our phone. Someone else's phone.
My phone. Oh, can you just turn that off on it? It'll be off in a second.
It's off. It's off.
So, does anybody have any questions for Bill? Okay, so our
Yes.
I have a question, Bill.
Yep, Stanley.
When does this take an effect? April of
No, this
next
takes
year?
effect- It takes an effect this year. All of our grand list is always effective as of April 1, 2020 for this year. But it takes effect for the 2020 grand list. So these tax bills, we have to go through the 15-day waiting period to send out grievance notices. And then once that's done, then Anna will send out the tax bills to correct what needs to be corrected.
Revised tax bills.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Anybody else have any questions for Bill? Okay, hearing none. Would anybody? So the gross increase is $532,828. The gross decrease is $347,855, which is a net increase of $184,973. $184,973. That's how much we're up. And it the municipal tax impact of that is that we'll get an extra $723.24. So this is mostly an exercise to correct the grand list, and then as Bill alluded to, every once in a while you do stumble onto something pretty meaningful.
It is, but
Okay.
we have to continually send out revised bills, which is a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Anna does work very hard with Lisa to send the bills out for sure. So does anybody want to make a motion to accept the errors and omissions report?
I'll make a motion to approve the errors and omissions as submitted to us by Bill Hyman on
11/16.
11/16.
I just looked at the date and saw.
2020.
I'll second.
Perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Bill. And
Thank you all.
Dan, for your work helping to send out the corrected tax bills. And, I know you do a lot of explaining too over the phone. You help a lot of people out and answer a lot of questions over the course of a day. So let's move on to the town manager's report. Carrie?
Yes. So the first thing I have under town manager's report, sorry, I was just texting Matt to call in, which I'm sure he will. I'm gonna skip the first part on the salt shed update, but we'll come back to that when Matt calls in. Town hall update, we met today with French Freeman, Stan, Jonathan, Anna, myself, and their team of people to try to kick off the design development phase, DD phase, to move it to the construction development phase. That's something I think the select board and as a group we will talk about later, but just know that we are taking active steps to get this going. We have a very tight timeline to get this prepared the way we want to be on the town meeting day ballot. I don't think a motion's needed at this point, but is there any questions on where we're going with that right now? No, I'm gonna keep moving.
Yeah, just a question, Carrie. Are you
Yep.
gonna go out and try to hire some geotech or civil engineer to do all this stuff that you want done?
Yeah,
For the
we do, well,
property.
we do need to hire, we have already hired French Freeman, but yes, I asked them for some advice on who was available and also had a recommendation for geotech services, which is basically digging in the ground to find out what we have there, and they base their, basically how they put in the foundation and support the building
Right.
with that information.
Geotech.
A lot of people don't know what geotech is, and I didn't before I worked here, but that's what they need to do, and they need to do it as soon as possible before the ground freezes. So that's why we're in such a yank on that. My plan is to go out to bid.
Matt.
Oh, hi, Matt. We're going to go out to bid for the civil work also very, very quickly. So I'll circle back to the salt shed update. I hear Matt. Can you hear us, Matt?
Yep.
Awesome. So do you want to give us an update on the salt shed for this month?
Sure. Well, as you can see, pretty much I would say almost 95% of all the wood framing, the structural sheathing is all complete. And what the next steps is on the 19th, the metal siding for the roof and the siding will be in, and then it'll be started. Installation will start on the 20th the next day, and that'll go until about December 10th. The precast poles and the light fixtures, for the precast poles for the light fixtures have been installed, and the light fixtures are forthcoming. And let's see, all of the grading is up to the level that it needs to be prior to asphalt, the sub base. And that's where we are construction wise. The estimated completion date is December 22nd.
We also had a little bit of good news and a donation this week. Do you want to go over that, Alan? Briefly? Can you hear me, Alan? You are muted. There you go.
All right. So yeah, Connor Contracting, Harrison's had let them use a lot of the waste blocks. There's a total of 40 of them around that they're using their bracing. It's something that we use quite a bit in the town for various projects. So I'd reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to do a discount sale to us. But shout out to Harrison Concrete. They donated all 40 blocks to the town. So that was a nice gesture on their part.
good news. Does anyone have any questions for either one of them? Okay. I guess that's good for the salt shed then right now. So I guess I'll ask a question because I haven't gone to the weekly meetings. Is our estimated construction completion date likely to happen, Matt?
It is, yeah. They're on schedule. I mean, I tell you, having that 1 week of good weather really helped things out. So far, they're still on schedule for that. I do want to kind of touch on the grant,
Okay.
the financial side.
Yep.
And so far, the money that we have received to date is $81,575.94. We have a pending request number 5, and that'll be for $158,703.31. That will leave a balance of the grant still at about $130,960.21. I ran an audit the other day just to track on how much the town has received to date between requests 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I found that the state has overpaid the town by $4,760.54, and I've notified the state, let them know about that, and suggested that they take that amount deducted from what is due to kind of bring it up to speed, and then I will let them know how that calculation error was made.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
All right, I think we're good then.
All right. Thank you, Matt, for an update. We appreciate it. Carrie, we still have a COVID update on the town manager's report, right?
I had my finger raised.
Can I just say
Oh, sorry,
something?
I can't see Stanley.
So Stan has a question, but Anna has a question, so I guess. Go ahead, Anna.
So I received an extra, I think, $611,000 this week for tax payments on the LaSalle farm. But that is already paid for the year. That's the prison. So I'm in contact with the Vermont Department of Taxes because maybe they made a mistake and some of that is grant money. I don't know. They don't owe anything, the state of Vermont.
And how much was the overpayment?
$611,000.
That's even more than, okay, that's too much money.
I know.
Well, I mean, it's too much money for the grant too.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Okay.
$11,000.
Yeah, it's different. It's just different. And the key on the memo is Vermont Department of Taxes, but it also alludes to a grant. So I'm in contact with the Vermont Department of Taxes to see what it's for.
Huh.
It's part of it wouldn't be local option taxes that we usually get at this time?
No.
Not that much, but I mean a portion.
No.
All right. I don't know. I've got nothing on that.
Huh. Well, more to come on that front.
Right.
Stanley, you had a question?
Yes.
Or a comment?
The question is, we just understood that the salt shed will be completed around the 22nd, but what about the paving? The paving, will that be done with it?
It can't be done right now because the paving plants are closed.
Okay, so the construction will be done and we're not completed there until the paving is done.
And there's usually punch list items, so obviously you can't figure that out until you get it complete.
Right, so we can't say it's completed then, okay.
Right, I mean, they can't
Okay.
move in salt.
Can't use it, it's not completed.
Right, they can't put in salt. I mean, Alan
Okay.
and I've talked about that.
Yep, Stan's right. You know, we ran into a scheduling issue. The state, they were nice enough to give us $376,000. They were also nice enough to saddle us with a lot of red tape, and that slowed this project down quite a bit. But again, Alan and Carrie have done pretty good work on keeping that project pushing forward. And, we have to use the Georgia Shore salt shed one more time, but there'll be a loader down there parked in the garage, heated, for just this winter, and then we'll be up at the new salt shed for next winter. So yeah, we got pushed back, and a lot of that, a lot of people say, well, you got done the garage really quickly, so what's up with the salt shed? And that was a lot to do with the grant and the extra processes that we had to go through to get through that. So does anybody else have anything on the salt shed? Okay, so Carrie, I think the last item on the town manager's report is a COVID update.
Right, and I put that on there just because obviously we're all aware that the restrictions seem to be tightening. There's definitely a big uptick in the semi-weekly meetings I have with emergency management officials. So we're still open by appointment only here, but that could change. That could change tomorrow, frankly, and likely will change on Friday when they update things. So if you have business here, we are still doing business. We're doing it remotely as we can. Just be patient with response times in the interim. We're trying to keep employees safe. We're going to lock, Alan and I talked about it. We are going to start locking DPW. We don't want to encourage people walking into that facility either. We need to keep our crew separated and safe. So look at the website and Facebook for updates in real time. We do that as often as we can when something changes. Next week is Thanksgiving. The office is closed on Thursday and Friday. I know Thanksgiving, people are joking that Thanksgiving was canceled, but a lot of people are going to have much smaller gatherings, but we still are going to close the office for 2 days. So.
All right.
Did you have anything to add to that, Anna?
No.
Okay. The last thing I have on there, I just sent you copies of the budget. We are, despite the pandemic and everything else going on, we still have to push forward. So you should have copies of the draft 3 of expenses and 1 of revenues. There's no action needed on that. Just know that it was put in your packets so that we can plan in December to have a meeting, or should have been put in your packets. If it's not there, we'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, I think I'm missing that. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
We will get it to you this week.
That's my fault. It's tax due day. I'll get it to you after tomorrow.
No worries. I wouldn't have had a chance to read it today.
Yeah, we'll get it done. I mean, at some point this week, we'll get it out to you. We don't have the meeting schedule yet, so nobody's late. I think
Got it. Okay, so on to schedule. Carrie, you went over that the offices will be closed on the 26th and 27th in observance of Thanksgiving. We've got our regular select board meetings Monday, December 7th and Monday, December 21st. Okay, so chair's report. I just wanted to touch on how well our elections were run here in the town, and how amazing the clerk's office, Anna and Lisa, did along with their election volunteers. I spent some time up standing with Stanley and Brian Delorier, and I left and came back, and it was, other than some safety protocols, it felt like another election in St. Albans Town. And there was I think it was a record turnout, over 3,800 votes cast. It's just fantastic. And, Anna's got to do it all over again here for town meeting day. It looks like we're going to have mail out ballots again, which I think worked very well. It helped us engage people. While we're on that subject, we want to thank people for giving us approval to purchase property and move to phase 2 of designing a new town hall. And we'll be back in the spring with a number in mind. So about the elections, again, we've kind of set a precedent of whenever somebody does something extraordinarily well, or maybe something a little outside of the norms of what their job description normally entails. We've rewarded that with our employees, and of course Anna is an elected official and Lisa works for her in her office. But I think it would be very reasonable and more than warranted for the select board to ask the manager to find where in the budget the money should come from, but to in the end award a bonus of $1,000 each to the clerk, Anna, and to her assistant clerk, Lisa, as a thank you for putting on just such an incredible election, and for your continued work in helping us reach all the voters that we can for town meeting day. Your work's been fantastic.
Brendan, I just want to thank you because we're truly humbled by that gesture. I won't lie, it's been a tough election year with the August and those postcards. It was crazy. Our main concern was keeping the election safe, protecting our justices, making sure everyone voted. That's our basic American right. It's important to us, and that's what we strive for.
Again, we really appreciate. Aaron, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was going to just say, I don't know, I'm not sure what the next step would be for that suggestion, but I don't know if it's consensus or vote or motion, but I would concur with that suggestion. Making sure that our elections run smoothly is a hallmark of our democracy, and I'm really grateful for Anna and Lisa and the work that they did to ensure, and the justices too, and the work that we all did to, the work that the town did to maintain these elections. So thank you.
I appreciate that. We had a great team behind us, I'll tell you what. And that checklist at the end of the night matched our entrance voter checklist, and that was perfect.
It was remarkable. So I would say that we can move forward on consensus. Carrie, are you comfortable with that?
I am. Yep, we can certainly
Okay.
find it.
You just let us know on December 7th where you came up with the money, and just to program it somewhere in the budget, and we'll see it processed for the next payroll cycle.
We sure will.
Can I just tell you though that I applied for a $5,000 grant due to COVID, and I got it to pay for this election. So if we can't come up with it, I have it.
That's great too.
That is great. And you also didn't you get another grant to cover the majority of a second tabulator too?
Yes.
I mean, you're just on fire. You're just on fire. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you.
2020's been a rough year, but a lot of good things coming out of the clerk's office. So that's all I have tonight. Does anybody have any other business?
No, other than executive session.
All right, yeah, so we've got to move on to talk about some contractual matters related to the next phase of the town hall relocation project, and we've got a brief personnel matter. We're going to be briefed on a couple of new hires, and you all will too, members of the public, in the coming days. So if anybody would make a motion to move into executive session.
I don't have the fancy language in front of me.
Oh geez, no one does, because I forgot to put it there.
I usually have a backup version somewhere, but I don't have it right now.
In my younger days, I would have memorized it. But
Do you want me to read it?
Please.
And then
Sure,
someone
that
can
would be
say,
great.
So
And then
moved.
I can go move that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Motion to go into executive session to discuss legal, contractual, or personnel issues where premature general public knowledge of the subject matter would place the town or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. It is further moved to enter into executive session to discuss legal, contractual, or personnel issues under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of Vermont statutes, and to invite in Town Manager Carrie Johnson.
Lie to me.
What's that?
Okay.
No, we're good. We just need the motions.
So moved.
Okay. We need a second.
Second.
Stan seconded.
Dan beats Jonathan before Jonathan can unmute. What a race. Okay, all in favor.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, Sheriff. Have a good night, Anna.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.